Way too loud as always. Hi and welcome to episode 25 of the Tech Review. Every 2 weeks we gather to discuss the hottest topics in science, technology and innovation. On camera 5 today we have Alex. On camera 4 we have Chris. On camera 3 we have Vincent. On camera 2 we have Henrike. And on camera 1 this is me. Hi, I'm Tarek. Oh, so many people today. Yeah, and if you like what you see here, you can of course follow us directly on our websites ideasengineering.io and freetech.academy, or of course on one of our many social media channels. And you can find the links down in the description or in the show notes, depending if you are watching us on YouTube or if you are listening to us on Spotify. Both is possible. And so, without wasting any more time, let's jump into the news because time is as always tight. And let's see who's going to start today. Let's restart. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. It's Alex. How about that? Would you like to start with John Deere?
Yes. So you may know John Deere as a company building machines. Wait a second. Building machines that. Building machines that are actually for agriculture. So everything that is agriculture related, right? And so John Deere is not just building agricultural machinery and doing awesome stuff with that. But what they did, or what they do throughout time, they developed a lot of autonomous machinery for agricultural purposes. So the focus of this article that I brought with me is that John Deere is going to become a mobile first definitely, but also AI first company within the next 15 years, but most probably before the end of this decade. Why? They found this opportunity during also Corona. The article says that is also a Corona-related or COVID-related thing, to find people going out there and, like doing the crops, wielding the fields and so on. So it's an issue. And so they have machinery that is driving autonomously over those fields and actually doing the crops, working on I'm lacking the vocabulary in English if I'm honest, doing everything that is related so that you can actually get comfortable as a farmer and come back eventually and look onto the field and you see that the job has been done. And since one of the major issues is also to find people going out to the fields and putting out the crops or bringing in the crops, this is something that they are also doing autonomously at a certain point. And you may not know that GPS, as you know it today, and the precise GPS that you have all on your phones and everything that is, like GPS related, they teamed up before the millennium, the new millennium started. They teamed up not only with I forgot the name of the company that they team up with, but also with NASA. And I know that this is an issue here within this round, to actually come up with the technology to find very precise GPS data in order to not be off by many meters or many inches, or what do they use over there? Like lots of space in between where they intend to be and where they're supposed to be with their machinery. So this is something eventually AI is going to take over John Deere completely, and also tomatoes, potatoes, and everything else that you're going to eat in the future is going to be AI infused.
Yeah, I think
this makes... Sorry.
Yeah, Vincent, please, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No.
I just want to say, I think agriculture is the obvious choice for AI technology because in terms of automation, we always observed how much automation was developed in agriculture, and back in the days there were so many people involved with planting crops and collecting crops, and so I could imagine that at some point of time, exactly as the video shows right now, everything can be automated by the machines. It's like driving a truck, right? Driving a truck can be automated. Driving a tractor and plowing the fields, why shouldn't this be automated and maybe even optimized? Vincent, please go ahead.
Yeah. No. We actually had kind of the same thought. I also wanted to say that I think that especially the demand for to harvest crops and to do it right and to do it also very sustainably so that we can generate as much food as we can from the fields without ruining them is super important, and therefore I think that's great. Also, I think it fits in nicely with our discussion I think we had last time about the construction robots, which actually are quite similar. I mean, they're working with AI, and they will need a lot of very precise location services and stuff like that to work as efficiently as possible. So I think this is just this sector of technology that we're not necessarily seeing because it's not presented by, I don't know, Apple during their keynotes and you can do it with your phone, but the sector that now comes and actually has much more impact, or the technology has much more impact there than our LiDAR scanner on the phone we have that nobody of us has ever used professionally, I guess. Except for Chris, maybe I don't know what you do with your tools, but I'm pretty sure that maybe you have more use than I for this LiDAR scanner.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder if I can also upgrade my dad's 40-year-old John Deere with the technology, because that would be pretty useful. But correct me if I'm wrong, but they currently just use it or have like proof of concept or something in the US, or do they also?
I'm not sure whether they're shipping
in Europe
those, but I imagine that, or I think that the big vision is going to be that everyone on the planet is going to use it then, obviously. And one of the things that is very interesting is that if you think of autonomous driving and what it did, and GPS-wise, this is something that basically prepped the field for autonomous vehicles as we know it today from, like marketing, Tesla and so on. That's one for sure. And the other one is going to be, or one important issue is then what we also experience right now with economy and with the prices rising, because we cannot, grab everything that is within reach in Europe, also with Ukraine. Autonomous agriculture could help also in areas that are not just rural or not approachable, but right now not having people over there in a way. Might sound weird, but that could be also an issue that could be solved by autonomous agricultural, like AI-driven agriculture machinery then. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, with regards to the GPS challenge, I think it also totally makes sense that they start in the US, where like the fields are much bigger, and it's like in Germany or like in Western Europe, it's much more closer to villages, to forests, to streets, to everything. Like you have to be much more precise here than over there. So getting it started, testing it, and improving it totally makes sense to do it over there and then shipping it over to
by the way, this farmer
like
in this video talking, he's also speaking about that he obviously he needs Wi-Fi in order to use that with his mobile phone, or at least if not Wi-Fi, then good internet connection. I bring this
Satellite
claim that I
connection.
think connections are still better in the States than over here as soon as you leave Berlin, or even if you leave a certain area of Berlin. So it might not even work everywhere yet outside of the States.
Yeah.
I thought you would now do the Musk turn, but yeah, okay.
We can
I
put
didn't
Musk
bring
in
the
there
article, but I read. There was another Starlink article, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago, but I didn't bring it here. Would fit perfectly to this article
Let's
now.
connect John Deere to Starlink.
Yeah. I could also imagine that it's much easier actually bringing AI to the field, so to say, in agriculture than to the streets, right? So since, of course, the field is much simpler than the streets, you have no street signs, you have no other traffic there, no people walking around usually. So this is probably quite, I wouldn't say easily to implement, but much quicker than autonomous cars out there in the world everywhere. So yeah, it seems to be a very easy, a low-hanging fruit, if you want, for AI to implement in large scale. And the use case is, of course, absolutely useful. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think I will now break the order of my algorithm here because Chris is going to leave early, if I remember correctly. So maybe let's pull Chris to the front. Chris, what about the Meta Quest 3?
Meta Quest 3, right, yeah. So, Tarek, you're there already.
What? What?
In the picture. He looks like you.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, so this is why I chose this article actually. I also had another one, but that was for the intro gag. Okay, yeah, the Meta Quest 3. Quite cool, actually. We are not talking about Meta Quest 2. We are not talking about Cambria, by the way. So not to like interchange that or confuse that. We are talking about Meta Quest 3, which is, so to say, the model which comes after Cambria. And the idea is that Meta actually wants to build, well, the most, as it said in the article, the most human VR glasses, right? Regarding social interaction and the interconnectivity. And this even goes with to the expense, sorry, even of form factor and weight, right? So the idea is that the future VR glasses shall be optimized for social interaction, right? Because Mark Zuckerberg thinks that social interaction is one of the key factors in virtual reality, and I think this is a proper idea and a proper aspect, since you can focus on various aspects in VR. And I have to tell also from our own experiences from our VR test phase, which we had last year in our company, where we had like 60 people taking part in VR collaboration tests. One of the main aspects, indeed, is the social interaction, and this is exactly what, as said, what Zuckerberg wants to focus on. So, how to do that? They want to improve the quality of the face-to-face communication in VR, right? So, you should be able to see the other person's eye and eye movements and read their facial expressions. And to do so, of course, technically wise, you have to actually implement some kind of face and eye tracking. And then that might be possible. And then it might be possible actually to read these micro movements in your face by all these trackings, and then actually project that onto your avatar, so that you really have the possibility to connect socially on a very high level, right? Really on the level of your facial expressions. And so, as said, I think it's one of the right ways to actually go into that topic. This is what he wants to achieve with MetaQuest 3, but they are already doing that with the Cambria, which is coming out this year. MetaQuest 3 then will be coming out next year. So big things probably at the end of next year. So big things actually to come. The difference to what we see now, like with the Quest, for instance, is that they are not heading only for the mass market, but also for other use cases, right? Like working and productivity and everything. So the long vision here is that in the end, the headsets shall become a primary work device, right? So it should replace your office, your laptops. So it shall be some kind of virtual laptops. And yeah, this is what they're heading through. Also, like with technical features like pass-through mode with high-resolution cameras and everything. Also in color, not as we have it nowadays with just gray and white. And then there was another aspect mentioned, which I think is very important, and that is we had it just in the article beforehand, that is the AI aspect, right? So what they also want to put into their glasses, into their headsets, is a new generation of AI assistants, right? So, because as Zuckerberg said, so with with such glasses and headsets, that will be the first time that an AI system actually will be able to truly see the world from your perspective. And this is directly through the glasses. So the AI more or less sees the same as you see and can react on that. And that, I thought, is a very impressive approach, actually, with both the social interaction, which is favored in the glasses, and the AI approach. So in a nutshell, both together will be the main features for these new glasses, which we see starting with the Cambria, but just as I said, as a start, and then going on with the MetaQuest 3 and whatever will be following. And yeah, I'd say, so from Zuckerberg's view, apparently these both features are the jokers for what we will be calling the metaverse in the near and middle future.
Yeah, I think we already observed this feature a couple of years ago when they introduced like fake eye movements and fake lip movements, and whenever your microphone was activated, your lips were starting blabbering, even though it was not real lip movement, but you were seeing which avatar was speaking at the moment. And I think the same was with the eye movements. The eyes were moving, and when your face was tilting towards another person, the eyes were locking, even though the headset did not actually track your real eye movements, but it made the avatars so much more lifelike. Yeah, so I'm really curious to see how this is going to work if the avatars are really mimicking my movements.
Absolutely, and this is exactly what we have actually rolled out our VR tests or platform into operative use last year, and this is what we see there exactly like that, right? So you have these fake eye movements, and it's exactly the effect which you just mentioned. It makes the avatar so realistic, even if the person does not look into that direction the virtual eyes are looking. You don't know that as a second avatar actually looking onto your partner there. And it's even that makes the whole thing realistic. And now imagine that it's the real movement, it's the real facial expression which you have there. And then I could imagine that, and I absolutely go together with Zuckerberg in that point, that the social interaction might be the key for the virtual realm, and also then later on for the metaverse, for the virtual metaverse, not the real world metaverse.
Yeah. Okay. Let's continue with Henrike.
Or does Chris have another article that we take beforehand?
We can, of course, we can pull him to the front, right? Let's
So I don't want to vordrängeln. So if.
But you have to leave in 5 minutes, so
right.
let's talk.
Fortunately, I have to leave earlier. Yeah, we have a hiring talk today, so I'm very sorry, but I have to leave. But okay, if it's okay with you, I can also mention that, because it's really a nice one. I like that a lot. Like all these things we discuss, right? It has two sides: a positive one and a negative one, good one and a bad one, black and white, like everything in the world. And also here, it's about Google. It's about Google overwhelming the world, so to say, with 3D street maps. So the cool thing here is, it is cool. Although it's, again, Google overwhelming everything, on the other hand, of course, it's also very, very cool, right? So they are actually creating some kind of immersive view of the world. So they are creating digital twins, but visual digital twins of the world. So what we see in this article here, which I brought, is some kind of further development of Google Earth, of the 3D view actually of Google Earth. And also here, of course, this is massively AI based, as most of the services from Google. And here they work with a neural technology, which is called neural radiance fields, or NERF, just as the play guns. So the neural radiance fields, and this is some kind of neural rendering where you can actually turn 2D photos into a 3D perspective. I mean, this is not really new, the concept, but what is new, that they actually did that not just for a picture or a single space or something, but they really tested that shortly, like with an 8-block scenery that was, I think it was the Alamo Square, they said, in San Francisco. And that is quite a huge thing. And then they actually got that further, the whole thing. And they took trainings data from camera cars, like with 2.8 million pictures. And I think now they are able to project selected areas, like in various cities. I think they're called San Francisco, New York, LA, London, and Tokyo it was. Yeah. And the cool thing is, as said, that the neural networks, they can learn, so the representation of 3D objects and scenes. So from actually taking all these 2D photos and render them in real time in 3D. And the cool thing is, they can do that from different angles and daytimes. So I think there's a video in there, and if you can see the walk or the ride actually through the streets, you can imagine that it had been 2D pictures which have been rendered and projected into 3D, but it looks so nice and so smoothly. And what's really cool is that they really can project, as said, various daytimes from day to night into these perspectives. That's a very, very cool thing to do, I think. And it does not stop in the streets. That's also very, very interesting, that they are able actually to get that further, even into spaces, into rooms. Like, for instance, you can get into a restaurant there, and then you can dive into the individual environment of this restaurant. Also, everything in 3D. And yeah, I mean, this is a totally new experience in regards to what we know from Google Earth 3D so far. So it's really three-dimensional. And according to Google, the new view runs also on every smartphone via immersive stream from the Google Cloud. And yeah, I thought that is quite striking. So I wanted to bring that into our little round here. And once again, we see that Google, as said, is in a way becoming overwhelming, and that they are not just having a navigation app with Google Maps or Google Earth, but that they are now really digging through the real world as intensively as they are digging through all the internet data. So this is becoming a little bit creepy, of course, creepy and freaky. But yeah, on the other hand, it's also cool. So you can do your own, bring in your own ideas if you like that or not. But I just wanted to present it to you guys because I thought it's worth presenting and worth mentioning here.
Yeah, I think what they really did well is mixing up real data and fake data or fake imaging. For example, they are showing weather, but not like real weather, but they import the weather report. And so if they know it is raining, they are generating artificial rain. And when they see there's a traffic jam, they do not show the realistic or the real cars that are standing in the traffic light, but they know there's congestion, and so they simulate a traffic jam. And so you see a real simulation of the real world, even though it's not real-time camera imaging.
I'm excited to see what this will do to architecture, for example, and any other area where you more or less fake the real conditions and you're not reliant on that the right car is at the right place at the right time. So let's say let's take this and let's have a look on, I don't know, big infrastructural systems or even very individual objects, and then they animate the rain or snow, whatever this kind of stuff. And I mean, I know from a friend that this is very expensive to do right now in these very professional areas, even though that the use is more or less it's professional-ish. It's not really like every raindrop has to fall into the right place, and at the same time, it still has to happen. And with this technology in its foundation, I'm really excited to see where this is going for construction and architecture and a lot of other stuff as well.
Yeah, very nice. And actually, I brought the same article, so we can skip this later.
Yeah, funny.
Not from the same newspaper, but the same topic. Okay,
Yeah.
but let's jump back to Henrike.
But then you can see that it has been an important one. So
Yeah,
if, like,
definitely.
the two of us actually
Yeah,
had an eye on that, so it must have been quite important.
yeah, and I'm really looking forward to test this out, because these renderings in this article, they look unreal. Not like the Unreal Engine, but it does not look like something that is really happening on my smartphone.
Yeah, so that will be the big test then. So let's check it out when it's available then.
Right.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys, actually, for taking my two articles. So as in the beginning, as said, unfortunately, I have to leave now to a hiring talk, but it was fun and a pleasure and an honor, like always. So thanks again to you guys. Thanks again to everybody listening and viewing. Talk to you and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Everybody else
Bye,
stays. Not everybody's leaving.
Yeah, please. All right, so now comes an article which will be super hard to talk about, because I do not know how to pronounce the word algae in English in the right way, and I have to say it a couple of times. So bear with me when I try to somehow talk about that.
Yeah, right. I think algae.
Algae.
Yeah.
I go
think
with
it's algae.
algae. All right.
Or what would you have said? Can you please give us an impression of what your impression of the word is?
No. Obviously, it was also algae. Yeah, so I found this quite interesting. It's about scientists who did a proof of concept to use algae-powered chips. And they did it for 6 months, and they used blue-green algae to power a low-energy computer chip. They put it basically into a little metal box, the size of an AA battery, and left it on a windowsill for 6 months. And the algae photosynthesized, generated a little bit of energy, obviously not much, but just enough to power the chip. And the plan actually is to use it for Internet of Things devices in the future. They mention, well, it's less harmful to the environment than solar power and also traditional batteries, but it's quite inefficient as it's only absorbing, I think, 0.25% of the energy of sunlight compared to 20% that we can get out of solar panels, for example. But the good thing is it's not just storing energy, but also generating energy continuously. So it's rather cheap to produce, and it's rather environmentally friendly. So it's quite nice to see that it's already working, and curious to see how they can actually implement it later on in actual products, how that will work out. But I found it quite, astonishing that they use that now for powering chips.
Does the article say how long it takes until this algae battery dies, like literally dies?
I mean, it doesn't really, right? I mean, it's if it always has sunlight, it's always generating new energy. So this is like, it has a longer lifetime than any battery because it's never running out of energy, basically.
But doesn't it run out of water eventually? Because there will be much more algae than
like growing,
space, like room. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, they did. I mean, they just no, they didn't mention that. I mean, they basically just said that they put algae into a metal box, left it in the sun for 6 months, and they did never add water or anything to it. But yeah, I don't know. In the long run, maybe like this was like just a proof of concept. They probably need to other kind of setup. Yeah.
It's interesting.
So after, sorry, like
No, I just want to have like a bad comment. Like it's like a new form of solar energy, but this time we are pouring energy out of living creatures, as in the Matrix.
don't tell Chris.
Actually, they say at the bottom. I just put the I think the last sentence. If you scroll down, they imagine that in the future, giant lily pads that float on water could be coated in algae to act as mobile power stations alongside offshore wind farms.
Sounds weird. Chris,
so to be honest,
Vincent. Where is he?
To be honest, I think this sounds extremely realistic. I totally see that happening in 5 years or something. I don't know why, but yeah. I also just wanted to make a bad comment about that. But first of all, we had those dams to, generate energy for mining and of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And now we're having this. So where are we heading? We'll see.
I think these alternative energy sources become more and more attractive because fossil fuels become more and more unavailable, and either by scarcity or war, right? And so it becomes more important every day to create these alternative energy sources like sun and wind. And now, if it's affordable, why not something like algae plants? Yeah, nice. Okay, next one comes from Vincent. Vincent.
Oh yeah, it's actually some article I brought more for fun than for us, because the Truth app is something that bothers us every now and then, and I just wanted to bring it because the Truth app actually is very interesting, because now the question, well, with Twitter being potentially under a more freer, a more free-ish kind of ruling, the question is, will Donald Trump return to Twitter? And this article from TechCrunch actually highlights that, well, he could be, but he is pretty much forced to publish first on Truth, on the Truth app. And he's not tweeting there, by the way. I don't know if you know about this, but a tweet in the Truth app actually called Truth. So if he posts a truth, that's actually like a tweet. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But so he has a contract with them. He's becoming one of the biggest shareholders or something like that very soon. And he has this contract that he cannot publish anywhere else. There are like minor exceptions, like if he's running against the president, for example, like any kind of being a candidate that's a political candidate, that's, I think, out of the contract. But so even though he could return there, he would always have to wait, I think, 6 hours after a tweet could, come up. And I thought that's really funny because, yeah, I mean, he created this own environment. The Truth is definitely much smaller than Twitter, even though there are other questions about the legitimacy of accounts, but I brought another article about that later. But yeah, I thought it's really funny that this Truth app actually, now holds him back from coming back to Twitter.
Who's the Democrat genius lawyer who came up with that?
Actually, it's, I think, governor, and also he used to be governor and now is CEO of the Truth app, and also co-founder, something like that. And he is not Democratic; he's obviously a Republican. As far as I know, don't hold me down to that. Read the article, people, please. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's to drive traffic to the app. So I don't know if this is just a very interesting, sarcastic concept, but no, obviously it is to drive traffic.
Yeah, but if you compare like the reach that the Truth app has so far compared to the Twitter reach, he's probably not very happy about this regulation.
Nah. No, the Truth app has it also is mentioned that the Truth app is not very performant. It is supposed to be running well. It has a very rocky start. It is only available on iOS, only available in the States. Not saying that he had a lot of followers compared to the one in the States outside of the United States, but still, I mean, there definitely would be people subscribing to him on Twitter again, maybe. And therefore, yeah, I don't think he's really happy about that. But on the other hand, who would have predicted that Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter?
And also, I think like the waiting list is super long, right? To get on the app. I think also in this article it was mentioned that some journalists they signed up for the waiting list in February, and they got into the app end of April or something. So you have to be quite patient
yeah.
to get in.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of people waiting there.
Yeah. I just thought maybe they are screening people before they let them in, and so journalists can wait for forever before they can see actually the truth.
Yeah,
messages.
They check beforehand if they really, if the journalists that really tell the truth, only then you are allowed to get in.
Yeah, but it's really weird that they call this like truth. If I go on there and now I post like this message, I'm now the emperor of Earth, then I posted a truth, right?
Exactly.
Well, it's your truth.
It's my truth, right?
Yeah. You could say other things. The world is flat, or the elections were fake, all that kind of stuff. And it may be true.
Yeah, I already downloaded the Truth app simply because I'm really, really curious, but I did not register yet. But it seems that it will take some time, so I should do this soon.
Yeah, please do it, and then like in autumn we can talk about it.
Right.
If this app still exists.
Yeah. But I mean, it's privately funded, right? So why shouldn't it? Okay, yeah. I brought also an article about AI. And this one I like very much, even though it is a scientific study, not a product that is released yet. And so someone built something that is totally overdue, and it is an AI-based traffic system. And so they built a simulation where they have this artificial city, and an AI is controlling all the traffic lights. And it does so by scanning all the streets and understanding where is actually congestion, where are a lot of cars and where are no cars. And I'm not sure if you know this, if you are drivers as well, but sometimes it happens that you are standing at a traffic light and there's no traffic at all. So you could simply go there, but you have to wait. And other times there's a lot of traffic, and so the traffic lights are not working in your favor. And wouldn't it be great to have an AI that is understanding where the traffic needs to flow more quickly, and at other points where there's no traffic needed at all, and so the traffic lights simply stay red or something like that. And so the system is saving people a lot of time by optimizing the traffic flow dynamically based on the traffic situation and optimize it for the ideal flow. And they present this on a conference right now. I think, where was it? The very end. Yeah, it's like the Multi-Agent System Conference 2022. And so I really hope that this is something that will be picked up by the governments and the people who are controlling like city traffic, because I think this is one of the few use cases where it's undoubtedly advantageous to have like an intelligence controlling the traffic lights in a good way. And I know we already have some kind of automation where traffic lights stay red until you actually pull your car in front of it, and so it understands, oh, like with pressure sensors, there's someone waiting, and then it's reacting, but it's not really intelligent. Yeah, and if you see how much problems we have in the city centers with all the traffic, I really think this will be a state of the art in the future, that everything, all the transportation will be like managed and optimized by AI. So I was really happy to read this article and can't wait until this is applied to the real world.
In electromobility, I mean, when we're talking about the smartening up of companies, and usually when we're talking about like mobility in general, I think most of the stuff we talk about actually is software related and not hardware related. And I think what a lot of people don't talk about is how we can smarten up infrastructure. And this is a perfect case of this, because a car that communicates better and faster and in a 360-degree way, kind of, also would obviously communicate with a AI that then manages how many cars are on the street, how many cars will pass by this traffic light, etc., etc. Also, of course, I mean, data privacy definitely is a topic we will discuss when this is becoming more real, because obviously you can also then have a lot of control about how many people are there, what type of people, what type of cars, stuff like that. But still, I think this is a great step also to reduce impact on climate, to maximize battery capacity, because cars don't have to stop that much, and also to, well, in the end, will throttle and manage speeds like velocity and average time you need from one place to another. So really, really interesting.
Yeah. And as you said, electromobility, or let's say self-driving cars, at some point in time, when the routes, not only the cars are optimized for in terms of speed and route, but also then based on the traffic lights, and then the AI can actually reroute the cars to another route because there was an accident or something like this, and change the frequency of the traffic lights and stuff.
Right, especially this rerouting maybe is something that we're underestimating right now, because I mean, everybody who is driving a car or maybe drives a car from time to time knows this, that sometimes you're on a lane. Let's say you want to turn left or right, and you're asking yourself, like, why is there only one lane for so many cars? And maybe in the future, an AI that understands how many lanes may be needed because there is a construction ahead and therefore a traffic jam, and then will communicate with, like, will display lanes in a different order, maybe expand the number of lanes you need to turn left or to turn right, and therefore redirect cars, like directly redirecting cars around the traffic jam. So this would be something really cool. And I mean, even if we start in a B2B sector, like let's start with public transportation and say taxi, Uber kind of stuff, this would still take a heavy lift off of the infrastructural system we have right now. Right.
Yeah. Okay, Vincent, you can directly continue. I already opened up your next link.
Yeah, so this is about Twitter and Elon Musk. In the past days, some people in the industry feel like that Elon Musk is getting cold feet, and that's due to a tweet that he made, which is that a claim of Musk that more than 5% of all accounts on Twitter are actually bots. And I don't know how much you're using Twitter yourself, but I probably would argue in the favor of Musk that 5% is a very small number. And this article actually states a few, or actually more than one analysis from the past that this actually cannot be. But Twitter is holding against it, and the CEO of Twitter, the current CEO of Twitter, did tweet a very long explanation how they come to the result of 5% and under. And it all comes down to this specific number of monetizable users. And now the question more or less is, well, what is monetizable? Because obviously this is very crucial for Twitter, because their main income, I think it's an article I brought last time, is ad money. And now if, say, a different party, like a third party, would officially state in cooperation with Twitter, well, it's not under 5%, it's maybe under 25%. This would mean that a lot more money is flowing into ads that actually is shown to bots, which therefore would mean that the ad impression on Twitter is worth less. And that is why this is now very, very crucial. This article also states that actually it's quite hard for Musk to get now out of this deal. He kind of has to go through with it. The only possibility for him to get out of it is if the Twitter board and the technology behind it is purposely scamming or purposely showing numbers or explaining numbers in a way that benefits Twitter or Twitter's numbers for monetizable active users, and therefore would be, well, obviously something that is more or less illegal. And then in that case, you could either pull back the offer entirely, but this article more or less states that what expected is now that is Elon Musk is now setting up to rearrange the deal to buy Twitter actually cheaper than the billions that are now on the table. And this actually already worked. After Twitter tweeted this, Twitter's net worth dropped. I don't know. I have a number in my head, around about 20%. I don't know if this is actually true, but it dropped. And yeah, we'll see. Like last night, after I posted the article here in the content management system, I saw that Musk actually retweeted something and then tweeted as a comment, rearranging the deal and buying Twitter cheaper actually would be an option. So it feels like that this is exactly what Elon Musk is up to. And the final question, then I'm done with my monologue, I'm sorry. The final question is this market manipulation? ? It is kind of legal because he's just stating something. However, he also broke the contract he had, like the NDA, and therefore and showed to the public how Twitter is proving that how Twitter is checking on how many users are bots. And therefore, the question is, well, is this very obvious market manipulation because he just doesn't want to spend that much money?
Yeah, I mean, he's the ultimate influencer, so whenever he opens up his mouth, he kind of influences the market.
So someone who buys then Twitter and is the ultimate influencer is not supposed to, like joke like that. But on the other hand, he might be the biggest trickster of all.
Right.
In that regard.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to like this $1 million or $1 billion deal with Twitter, it might be very lucrative to like send some messages here and there. Yeah. And I mean, you can't really force him to stay quiet. This does not work. Yeah.
I mean, also, if he really goes through with taking the company private after, this whole discussion is like, as we know now, he can't pull away or walk away from the deal. And therefore, whatever he does right now, yeah, well, it's not fair to the shareholders. But if he takes the company private after, it not really has a very bad impact on the company at the moment. Besides, of course, the fact that if this proves to be true, advertisers maybe are not interested in advertising so much on the platform anymore. However, he also, as you know from last time, stated that he wants to that he wants to limit advertising on the platform very, very, very much. And therefore, it sounds like something that works very well in Elon Musk's head. However, it also looks a bit unfair to the outside. And well, we'll see how it plays out. I'm really interested to be seeing this because the rating of Twitter or how they understand monetizable users seems to be very, very broad and also include a lot of bots. We'll see.
Right. Yeah. And I just saw my second article was the one that Chris already showed, and we already had Chris' second article. So Vincent, you brought actually a third article.
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. We can skip this. This is about Twitter and its new tab.
It's
And
fine.
actually, it's just for it's a bad news just for Tarek and me because we don't know. We can't find out about trends anymore because TikTok actually learned over the past that people are using the Discover feed not that much. And what they basically do is that they discover TikTok either via the For You page or via the search icon. And therefore, the Discover page more or less is just for people like Tarek and me who own a TikTok account and, try to understand the what's going on there and what is driving traffic right now to my videos, what sound, what do I have to do. TikTok is a lot about replicating what you see on there, and the Discover feed actually helped a lot. And now this is replaced by the Friends tab because TikTok sees itself more and more as a platform for entertainment, obviously, which it is, but it also sees itself as a entertainment platform between friends. And this is something they actually learned looking at Snapchat, because Snapchat sees itself as exactly that. It's a connecting app for friends. You can communicate there. They have messaging and all that stuff, but they also have this deep in their core, they have this story feature that is very perfectionized, if you want to call it that. It is for entertaining other people without really connecting to them, but still knowing them. And that is what TikTok now is implementing. It started in a very small group. Now it's very large. I'm also part of the test group. Tarek, I'm pretty sure your verified account is in there too. So you create your account, I'm sorry. And therefore, it's very interesting to see how this will turn out. But it definitely encouraged people to create more content, but also encourages people to take more content private, away from the For You page and into the only visible when befriended tab. And we'll see how this will influence the traffic on the For You page.
Yeah, and I actually have some information for all the TikTok users because I found the trends, even though I have this Friends tab. If you go to the notifications, where you see people who like your videos and you see who sends you a comment, and you filter for TikTok events, then you see that TikTok always sends out an event message whenever a new trending topic is there. And those things that were previously on the trending page are now sent as hidden messages in the events list. And if you filter for TikTok, then you see them again.
I think that this is not possible anymore, Tarek.
Oh, really? Okay, I have to check again. Maybe I just said something wrong, but I thought that I saw this last night when I was browsing through the events, and I saw.
I do see the event tab, but it's just really the events. It's not the, I don't know, glamour
Dances.
challenge.
I have to check again. Then if it's not the
It's
case,
only
then
Okay. That's only the events created by TikTok, either in cooperation with a brand or something like that, or if they want to engage. Last year, they had this really big EduTalk challenge, which was made by TikTok, and I think that's what's visible there. I don't think it's for, I don't know, some weird sound.
Okay, I see. Okay, but nevertheless. Okay, then we are already through the list, but since we already... we are out of time, but still, there's one thing, because I lost one of my articles. We didn't talk about Space Harbor. And simply, very briefly, because this is news and everybody needs to hear this, if you are a friend of Star Trek, then you might enjoy listening to the news that here on Earth, the Starfleet Academy is now created. And of course, it's not called Starfleet Academy, it's called Star Harbor Academy, but it's basically doing the same thing. It's a privately managed academy that educates and trains astronauts or people working in the space industry. And this sounds weird because we already have like NASA and ESA and they already create like astronauts. But the idea is that after 2030, the space industry will grow so big with fleets of spaceships and space stations and colonies on Mars, for example, because Elon Musk has the plan to move like 1 million people to Mars until 2050. So the need for space workers is very, very high. And so starting 2026, this private company called Space Harbor Academy, they will train like masses of astronauts. And this is really interesting. And of course, it's not like one-to-one what Starfleet Academy was, but we now have schools and academies for astronauts. And so I really think this is incredible that, again, once again, I say we live in the future and everything that we touch right now is like science fiction, but it's really like a privately held academy for astronauts. And so you do not have to apply to NASA or ESA anymore if you're planning to travel to space or work in space. Yeah, even though you have to wait until 2026 and you have to have a lot of money for this education.
Hint.
Yeah, but
hint.
there was no price tag mentioned so far, right? Because I just subscribed to the newsletter to,
I did too.
to
Yeah.
get to know the info. How much it's going to cost, etc. But yeah, great
Did you
news.
click enlarge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. On the right here. I'm not sure if this is always on Ars Technica that you can enlarge a picture, or if this was another Star Trek hint, like enlarge. Yeah, but they have some nice artist renderings. Yeah, so this building does not exist yet, but they plan to have this very beautiful campus. And it's not only a training facility for astronauts, but they also have like these like scientific and engineering research facilities and institutes where like SpaceX or NASA can contract or subcontract research because they do this like a university and can work and research there. And they are not only training astronauts, but all the disciplines that are necessary for space travel, space exploration, and working in space. Yeah, so also space machinery and space science. Just put space onto every other topic like space computer science and space geology and space chemistry. Yeah, that's it. And you can subscribe to the newsletter. And I'm really curious to see if this initiative will die or if this is going to be the next big thing in industrial evolution of humankind.
Is it on Truth?
I have to check. Okay, yeah, that was the last link that I will add to the list as well. We are out of time, but thank you for everyone who joined, everyone who sent all these amazing links. And I'm looking forward to the next tech review. And the next tech review in 2 weeks is going to be a special one because we are going to broadcast live from TechCon in Berlin, like this huge conference with hundreds of people, and we will be on stage, on the main stage. I'm not sure. I think it will be the Wednesday, the June 1st.
of June.
And I don't have the time at the top of my head, but it's going to be somewhere in the afternoon. And so I hope we will have
7 a.m.
Is it 7 a.m.?
No,
I think
no.
That's late.
It's around 4:30 or something, like in the afternoon.
Vincent the Trickster. Yeah, and so I hope that we are going to have like a large audience online as well as like a large audience in the room there. And it will be quite challenging, but really a great experience. So see you there, and I'm looking forward to your contributions. See you then. Bye.